for it.
Apologies in advance because I have a cough. I'm gonna try to keep that down as much as possible, but super excited to be back. We are talking today about having an excuse to start before you're ready. So we're going to touch into a lot of things here, why we as women feel that we have to be perfect before jumping into a new project or a business or whatever it is. Then we're going to talk about why you should just jump into action, and then some practical steps to help guide you to start before you're ready, help make you feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times, first of all, it's fear that stops us, but then that perfectionism ties into the fear that the fear of not being perfect or whatever it is, but
fear of failure, being judged,
exactly,
or regretting something.
So you want things to be perfect, but perfection is the enemy of progress, because it's you won't make progress with perfection. You need to have things to work on in order to make progress. First
you have to fail to know really what you have to work on as well. So I mean, it's just a part of the process. It's part of being successful. It's part of being perfect.
And I think that perfection is also, it's elusive. It's another excuse to not do something, because you're never actually going to be perfect. When have you ever done anything that's perfect?
I was just going to say, let's define what it is, what does actually mean to be ready for something. Because like you said in the previous episode, you look back at your previous content from 6 months ago or a year ago, and you're cringing at it because it sucks and you were not as good as you are today.
Sucks, but could be better.
So the point is, what does it mean to be ready to start posting on social media? What does it mean to be ready to launch your design business? What does it mean to be ready? What exactly is that?
That's a big piece, because people feel like they're not qualified.
Yeah.
You feel, I don't have that certification, or I don't have those many years of experience, or
I cannot tell you the amount of time that I wasted because of that, because I never went to university for design, even though every single therapist that I saw before for vocation type of tests told me that I needed to study design and communication. I didn't, because in Venezuela it was frowned upon to study something like that, because it was for dummies. And I was like, I'm not a dummy. I'm not gonna study that. So I never got a degree on that. And when I actually wanted to launch the business, I'm not qualified for this. Even though I've studied this on my own my whole life, and I've had a lot of practice with my friends and family's businesses, I'm not qualified for this. So I don't deserve to even charge for this, because who am I? That makes no sense.
Yeah, but that's all imposter syndrome there too, right?
It is. And Nicole coming in with the quotes always. My very first business coach, he's made over $1 million in his business over the last few years, and hopefully over a few million. But he would tell us that perfection doesn't matter. Start before you're ready. I lost my train of thought.
It's affecting you.
It's true. The empathy, the pregnancy brain empathy. Fudge. What were you talking about?
Imposter syndrome.
One more before that.
It was Patricia's thought. She was saying, going to school for design was for dummies.
Oh yes, thank you.
Gotcha.
One of the things that he was saying is you only have to be 2 steps ahead of somebody to help them. So when you're just starting out, if you're 2 steps ahead of somebody, you have value that you can share to somebody. And think about all of the things that you've now learned. If you're able to then share that with somebody else, you are qualified, because you have been 2 steps ahead, right? So even if it's just 2 steps ahead, you still have value that you can share with people. And also as you learn, you can then go back and learn. When I first started my business, menstrual health education wasn't there's no such thing as menstrual health. I was searching for different courses or whatever I could do that specifically revolved around the menstrual cycle and stuff like that, which there wasn't really any at the time that I started. So I had to learn a lot of the stuff on my own. So the first probably 5-6 months was literally me being 2 steps ahead of people, and then still helping them and supporting them. And when I was able to do that, having those conversations, having other people ask me questions, my whole thing was like, even if I don't know, I will find
Figure it
out for
out.
you.
Yeah.
And then that helps you also get further. So,
And that's such an important part of the like entrepreneurial mindset, right? In any part of self-development or growth, whether it's business, whether it's mom, whether it's wife, whether it's, you know, marathon runner, whatever it is, you're constantly learning.
Mhm.
So it doesn't like you're never going to be such an expert where you know everything. So why even
Never.
why even aim to know everything at the beginning? Because it's not going to happen. No matter
It's
if you
also
have
boring.
20, it's so boring.
To know everything is boring.
Yeah, like you want to forever be learning. Like
Yeah.
even if you have 20 years worth of experience, you're
Yeah.
still learning. Things are going to evolve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So to actually take it into actionable steps to beat this crazy thought that you have to be absolutely perfect, and like the video needs to be perfect before you post it, and whatever it is that you want to offer, the business that you want to start even has to be perfect, that your package needs to be perfect before you put it out there. I have actually learned a lesson on two about this after going
Enlighten
through it
us.
for a long time.
Tell us
Uh,
about those.
so one of the things that looking back, as Nicole has always said, um, you only see what actually worked after you have gone through it and you look back. Looking back, one of the things that really helped me with imposter syndrome was bringing in an intern to work with me.
Mhm.
Mm.
A couple of girls had no idea what being in business as a brand and web designer was, and they wanted to learn because they wanted to start their own agency. And I was like, okay, come in, I'll teach you whatever I know. I don't know if it's enough. And they were like
Yeah.
so shocked by all the information that I gave, and I was like, this
Like I have
I
information.
given.
Like this,
Am I teaching?
right.
Do
Like,
I know something that someone else, like, is this not obvious?
right.
Really?
That's for
What? That was wild to me. And then I started to teach someone how to use Framer. I taught someone else about brand design, because those were the careers that they wanted to follow. And then that made me realize I do know a lot
Yeah.
that I don't realize, because I'm comparing to my yesterday self. I'm not comparing myself to my 4 years ago self.
Right.
And it's like for myself at least, like I recently was on a podcast called The Healthy Push, and we were talking, and at the end of the podcast, like I've done quite a few podcasts in my niche. And at first, when I first started to do them, I would just like spill out all this information that like seemed a little bit overwhelming. And when we were done our conversation the other day, I was talking about how, like there's one part of me that's just like wants to spill out all this information, but that can be really overwhelming for people. And then there's the other part of me that like thinks about these things that I just think are common knowledge. But then I talked to someone and they
like,
had no
huh?
idea. Like I was on a call with my membership group for like the Get Synced community. And we were talking about how she was like, yeah, I still get headaches, but like I drink a lot of water, but I feel like I'm always like dry and everything. And I'm like, are you putting electrolytes in your water? And they're like, what's electrolytes? And like, for me, that's because I'm in this space, that seems like something
So
so just
normal.
like common knowledge, but to recognize like, no, a lot of people like haven't been given this information. They
Yeah.
also like haven't been placed in front of the same thing. So with social media, we are often like our algorithm puts us in front of and like puts other people in front of us that have similar content. So what we're seeing is people who do know things, who do
Mhm.
like they're posting content about that and whatever.
Oh my
So
God,
for
that's
me,
such a
it's like
good
I
point.
think that everybody is seeing this content that I'm seeing,
But that's
and it's just like a
not-
common thing. But then it's that recognition of like, oh no, I'm in my echo chamber, and we're now like setting out from this echo chamber, and like people have every single person has value to add to other people's lives because everybody knows something that you don't know.
Literally.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Thing you don't know.
Another thing that it has really helped me go into action mode instead of just ruminating on everything that I'm doing wrong or that I feel like I'm not good enough for, has been to, and I stumbled upon this like by accident. Beginning of this year, actually, like 2 weeks ago, I was action mode. I'm gonna find 15 agencies in the United States that I can pitch to so we can work together, right? Because I'm looking for new clients. So I started looking at these agencies and they're charging 10K for a website. Mind you, for the same type of website, I would charge 2K. They're charging 10K for a website. The way
Bro.
I was like, imposter syndrome is over in this second as I see these portfolios. They suck. Not only design wise do they suck, but like strategically, they're just lapping shit on it. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I can see there's nothing behind, no thought process behind this. And it got me so angry. I'm like,
Yeah.
how is it possible that I've wasted 4 fucking years of my life being an idiot and being like, oh no, I'm so bad. Everyone else is so much better than me. When that is out there,
This
there's people
is
that started 5 months ago.
this is so key, because if you keep waiting for that perfection, you're gonna miss opportunities, or
Oh,
you're gonna
yeah.
burn out trying to be so
Yeah.
over prepared on things that you're gonna end up I mean, like what we were talking about in one of the last episodes, right? Like that person who's like digging for gold, and it's like you're almost there, right? But you feel like everything has to be perfect, or you feel like, I don't know, whatever. So you don't keep going, and it's like, oh, you're like right there. If you could just see that you don't need perfection, if you could just see that whatever you have is enough, you are good enough. When I was studying for grad school, it's kind of unrelated, but I'll brag back, I promise. But when I was in grad school, I was taking a lot of classes because I thought I was going to be working mainly with like kids. And so all of the classes are always talking about how when you're working with a child, you're also simultaneously working with a parent. Like yes or yes. So everything that you're learning and doing or whatever has to do with the parent. So it's like, okay, so not only is the child your focus, but also the parent is. So you also have to make sure that the parent is what we call good enough, because there's no such thing as a perfect parent. There really isn't, like every parent can be out there doing like their best, and sometimes it's decent, sometimes it's right, but like the point is, are they a good enough parent? And so then we had to learn what a good enough parent means, which I feel like ties into this, because you don't have to be a perfect CEO, entrepreneur, businesswoman, mom, wife, sister, daughter. Like you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be good enough. Like you have to be that person that,
But not even good enough. You just have to do something.
just
We were
do.
talking about it also in the last episode or one of the last ones about how things are moving way too fast lately. Like videos are becoming shorter, people's attention span is going crazy. Like businesses are for the ones that dare to actually go out and try, because then you learn your lesson faster and you will adapt faster, you will pivot faster, and you will be able to actually move forward. But if you never do anything, the window is gonna fucking close.
And I think that's really, really important, because it's easy for us to say this, but like, how do you put that into action? And like, how do you just do the thing? I think a lot of it comes down to being okay with failure, like compassionate detachment, like allowing yourself to fail, knowing that like, if you take on this project, you are going to fail. When you become a parent, like I've always, like I'm a mom, like I'm going to be a mom. There's no doubt in my mind. Do I know that I'm going to fuck up a lot? Absolutely. Am I okay with that? Because my intention is to be the best parent that I can be. And I know that if I maintain that I will be okay and my kids are going to be okay, because the intention behind it is always to be better.
And learning and growth happens in the process. You literally cannot learn how to be a good parent until you're a parent and you fuck up.
Yeah. And there's like, it's that quote of like, there's no such thing as failure. It's either it's a win or it's a lesson.
And that is all on your input and your perspective on that failure, right? So if you decide that failure is going to debilitate you, then that's what it's going to do. But if you decide, hey, I'm going to take this failure, I'm going to learn from it, I'm going to be better, and then the next time that something comes up, I'm going to learn from this, like you're building your own personal emotional resilience, you're learning how to be adaptable, flexible, and like take those failures and make them into something beneficial.
Yeah. Honestly, and this is kind of unrelated, but I think it's like
Connected.
Relevant. Like I used to struggle a lot with body image issues, and like I had really disordered eating. I was like obsessive, and it was really impacting my life. So I needed to figure out a way to like fix my brain so that I didn't do that. And I literally used to look in the mirror and I'm like, you're okay. Like I would say it aloud to myself, you're okay. Or when something would happen, it was just, it is what it is. Because there's so many things that are going to happen. It is what it is. You can either like find different things to blame or people to hate or whatever, or you can ask, what's next?
Yeah.
How am I going to move forward?
Well, actually, what I've done in that type of scenario is because my brain is going crazy with anxiety. Like, what if this? What if that? What if I launch the networking course and actually I bring no value to people? What if they think I'm just a joke? What if they whatever? A bunch of things, and then I'm like, okay, that happens. So
Then what? Cool. It is what it
Right.
is.
And then what?
I'll,
That's it. And
like,
then what? Like you
I'm not
can't
gonna die.
stop.
So
Yeah. I always ask my clients, like, okay, what's worst case scenario if we fail? Like this fear that you have, this failure, what's the worst case? Right. And we talk about it. And then I'm like, okay, let's say that happens. Then what?
exactly.
Right. Because I
That
think
really helps. It's crazy,
because
and it sounds
we're
like
stuck on
it's
that
not
unknown.
positive enough. But
Right.
honestly, the toxic positivity thing is annoying as fuck.
Mhm.
Sometimes you just have to know that you can tackle the worst case scenario, and that worst case scenario never happens. Always is something stupid that's is a little bit negative, but still, it's not the worst case.
And I think what's important is actually physically asking yourself that question, because
Yeah.
when you actually ask yourself that question,
It makes you think about
makes
how
you-
you were going to deal with it.
exactly.
Because the biggest thing is actually not our fear of the failure. It's the fear of the unknown. If that does
Yes.
happen, what's going to happen? I don't know. This could happen. This could happen. This can happen. This, right? And that is overwhelming. But if you go on and ask yourself that question, well, if this does happen, this is what based off of knowing me, based off of knowing my environment, my situation, my coping strategies, I would probably do this, this, and this. Okay, well, that makes me feel a little bit better because then at least I know I'm going to be working towards whatever,
And
But
I don't know what I would do. I know I can ask people. Even if I have no friends and I live in at the top of a mountain, I have internet access because I'm watching this video. So I can go on fucking Facebook,
ask for
TikTok,
help.
whatever, and ask for help. Yes,
Yeah.
it's not easy. It's not easy. But it is as a possible solution. I mean, you don't know everything. Even Google doesn't know everything. So it's nice to just ask people and see what their ideas are to solve the situation. And usually they have great ideas, and random strangers are, in my experience, usually want to help you achieve whatever it is that you want to do.
And I
So
think it's important with that to to build the relationship you have with yourself, so that when you ask others and bring others into the situation, you can decipher what you want to take and what you want to leave. Like I've been part of a lot of masterminds and programs that one person could be in those programs and like, oh, I didn't take very much from it because like that didn't really help my business or whatever. But like if you only take what you like is aligned with you, then it's successful.
Enough.
Like my first coach, it was like, do it exactly like this and you'll succeed, which yeah, I probably would, but that's not how I want to navigate my business.
Mhm.
So I'm going to take what you taught me and I'm going to take a lot of these lessons, but I'm going to make it my own. So everybody's going to give you advice. Like even you, the audience listening to this conversation right now, you don't have to listen to everything that we say, but if something resonates with you, trust yourself enough to like absorb that and take that from this conversation and continue on with that. But like that.
And the most important part, and I think I have it here on a post-it on my computer actually, take immediate action. So I have these post-its on my laptop every week. I just change them every time I cross over some tasks. Whenever I'm going crazy with anxiety, I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm not good enough. I'm not qualified. I'm not whatever it is. Okay, what is one thing that I can do right now to pull me closer to that? If I want a new client, okay, I'm gonna get in touch with 5 new people and see what that takes me. What can we do?
2 amazing steps to counteracting that need to feel perfect before starting. Shifting your mindset, right? So being aware and mindful of what you're saying and the harmful thoughts and shifting it, and then breaking down the action or the thing into like small actionable steps. Because sometimes it's overwhelming too. And it's like, oh, I have this big goal of this. How do I do it? Just do it. And it's like, okay, but I need steps, right? So like you said, talk to 5 people a day, or, whatever it is.
Even it doesn't have to be consistent. Like it doesn't have to be every day. Maybe today I'm freaking out about having new clients. Today, I'm reaching out to 5 new people. Tomorrow,
Yeah.
I'm going to be freaking out about, I don't know, social media. Then tomorrow, I'm going to post a video. Like, it's just one tiny thing that would actually will help you sort of train yourself to think differently and move towards action and look for those actions that you can take that will
Yeah.
move you a little bit closer to what you just
And
want.
it's that thing of action builds momentum. So like you
Yes.
talk to any writer isn't going to say like sit down for 4 hours a day and write. They're literally going to say open your computer and write 3 sentences. And if you don't want to continue writing after that, don't. But oftentimes, if you just write 3 sentences, you're going to write a whole
I
book.
have a great example for this. My friend is creating a new app. It's an awesome app. And he was freaking out the other day about I don't know where to start. There's so much to do. It's overwhelming. So I was like, okay, you need to sit down and write down all the things that you need to do because you have a lot of things in your head that you have to tackle at some point.
Yeah, put it
Just
on paper.
write the full list, prioritize it, and then choose one. If when you're working on that one task, you feel like you want to change, okay, move it down the list and prioritize something else, and you're going to work on that. It's going to really help fixate on just one thing and one issue and tackle it and actually take action on it instead of just freaking out in a corner about not being able to take action because it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would recommend everybody listening to this, after this today, do one thing, like put one action into doing what you want to do that will get you closer to your goal.
Yeah.
I love how Shafi is taking
Is-
your voice. Well, beyond recommending, I'm challenging everyone to do one thing today. One thing. Post it in the comments under this video.
Join our
Tag us,
community.
whatever it is that you're watching. Hi, Shafi.
Which, speaking of community, I think that's another really big piece too, right? Surround yourself with support and people who are going to help uplift and motivate you. If you need to, find an accountability buddy. Find someone who's going to help you push towards that goal too, right? I'm super scared to do this. I mean, Patricia, you were basically that person for me too with like TikTok, right? You're like, Ariel, get it together and do whatever you have to do a live with me. And I was like, okay. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna do it, right? And like the second I got that notification, you can now go live. I like sent it to you immediately. Like you were my accountability partner for that. So yeah, that's also super big.
So I think we can, at least for social media, we can challenge everyone watching this to go and work on TikTok so you can actually go live as soon as possible. And maybe you can join us on a live on one of these interviews.
yeah, like
Yay! Okay, go join our free community right now. Immediately.
Go,
Link is in the comments or somewhere. Find it.
show
And ask us questions if you have any questions. If you have any suggestions on future episode of an excuse to, if you need an excuse to do anything, just drop it in the comments and we'll talk about it.
love it.
Love it. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.